Self-improvement presence. How do mental and emotional illnesses affect social health? There are many ways that mental, emotional, or physical illnesses can affect an individual's social health. Some of the more common effects include changes in relationships with other people, lack of interest in meeting new people, and inability to form friendships due to self-consciousness caused by fear or anxiety. Certain symptoms of certain conditions like depression or PTSD may make it difficult to function socially, which further impacts your overall social health. This is especially true if you're working full-time and trying to maintain close ties with friends and family outside of work. Many healthcare professionals now recognize that having a chronic medical condition can play a significant role in causing stress and developing mental disorders such as depression or anxiety. Medical conditions can also put additional pressure on loved ones who have to deal with both their own grief over the loss of the person they care about and extra responsibilities because of the illness. Relationships and emotional health. One of the biggest things that can affect your social health is relationships. This includes not just how many friendships you have, but also what kind of friends you have. Are they supportive and dedicated, or do they put more emphasis on them getting higher grades than being friendly? Sadly, mental illnesses are some of the most common reasons people develop poor relationships. People with depression may avoid interacting with others because they feel too down or that they cannot be around other people due to their moods. Some individuals with anxiety disorders worry about whether or not they can handle conversations, so they stay quiet and isolated. Other mental conditions like OCD, obsessive-compulsive disorder, cause someone suffering from it to obsess over certain behaviors or routines, making normal interactions uncomfortable for both parties. These habits often continue even outside of the person's home life, as these individuals may spend time working and/or studying via computer or phone, which makes having casual conversations difficult. Relationships and eating disorders. When someone with anorexia nervosa meets up with friends, it is usually to discuss their symptoms or how they could potentially help them lose weight. Friends of people with this disorder often feel left out and alienated as everything seems about the person and their disease. This can sometimes be the most difficult situation for them to handle. For example, if your friend just told you that there's no way she'll eat food because she doesn't like what she has enough of, then you may be faced with deciding whether to try to talk her into doing so, or simply leave her alone to get hungry. This can make going through any kind of public event very hard. Some things such as meetings, parties, and/or events require you to have some amount of food prepared, organized, and packed away ahead of time, which may not be possible when you don't feel well fed. It becomes much more difficult to attend these types of events when you know that you won't be able to find anything to eat unless you both are actively looking for something specific. Having to deal with all of these extra limitations can easily cause lots of stress and frustration for those around you. There is also a risk of social exclusion due to feeling uncomfortable being surrounded by others who do not share the same illness. This can lead to additional mental health issues for individuals with eating disorders. Relationships and addiction. Addictive behaviors can affect your social health in many ways, including changing how you interact with people around you. People who love you may feel discouraged or even put off when they see you spending time that you claim is spent together doing things that make no sense to them. People who spend time with you may also notice changes in how you behave towards them. For example, if someone does something that makes you angry or irritable, you may respond with an argument instead of words or actions that would normally calm you down. You may avoid being close to others because you don't want to hurt their feelings or be rejected, which only adds to everyone's stress. When you're stressed out, it is more difficult to keep healthy relationships. There is some evidence to suggest that mental illnesses can have negative effects on romantic relationships. For instance, research has shown that individuals with depression experience higher levels of relationship conflict than those without depressive symptoms. However, this article will focus exclusively on the effect that addictions have on social health. How to improve mental and emotional health. There are many ways to improve your social health by changing how you interact with people, what types of friends you have, and whether or not you share experiences that involve other people. Social support comes in many forms. It can be from someone else who does things with you, it can be through conversations, it can be knowing there is somewhere you can go when you feel bad, and it can be having someone watch your child while you run an errand. Research shows that individuals with strong social networks enjoy longer lives than those who are isolated. Having supportive relationships helps you deal with stressors more effectively and gives you a sense of confidence and security. It has been shown that a lack of social support contributes to symptoms of anxiety and depression. In fact, one study found that patients suffering from major depressive disorder were twice as likely to suffer another bout of depression if they lacked close friendships. Given that feeling lonely is linked to poor physical health, we could say that missing out on important parts of life is also linked to shorter-term health issues and even disease. 1. Become a mental health advocate. More than half of all people will experience a significant mental or emotional illness at some time in their lives. Fortunately, most mental illnesses are treatable and can be managed with appropriate therapy and medication. When you have an encounter with someone who is suffering from a mental health condition, there are several things that you can do to help them feel better and restore their social health. It's important to remember that just because someone seems depressed or angry about something doesn't mean they would necessarily hurt anyone else. Research has shown that when individuals with mental health conditions interact with other people, it can sometimes trigger feelings of anger, fear, or sadness for those around them. This effect, what scientists call ambient stress, is very common and usually does not pose any long-term risk to others. However, if left untreated, mental health problems could negatively impact your own social health. 2. Seek help when you need it. When we are in our teens, 20s, or 30s, it can be difficult to ask for help because we don't want to seem weak or needy. But mental health issues don't go away once you start asking for help. In fact, they often get worse. By seeking help early, you will decrease the chances of your emotional illness worsening and hurting others around you. And while some people may think that you're too focused on yourself, there are many resources available to aid you right now, whether it's through counseling, community groups, or medication. Experts say that one of the biggest reasons why people with depression fail to seek the appropriate help is stigma. Stigma makes it uncomfortable to talk about mental illnesses, so most people remain silent and hope things change on their own. However, only after symptoms worsen do people realize something is wrong, so at that stage it's already too late. 3. Talk to your partner about your mental health. When you are in a relationship, it is important that you talk to each other about how your relationship is going. If there is something you're struggling with, then discuss this with your loved one. This can be really difficult if you're not sure what's going on for you. You may feel too embarrassed or even scared to tell someone that you don't know what's making you unhappy. But staying in a relationship like this will only make things worse as time goes on. You'll both end up suffering more and feeling less connected to each other. If the significant other senses that you're struggling mentally, they could also start to worry about whether or not they want to stay in the relationship. And while it might help them to know what's causing you pain at the moment, they might find out later than we think. 4. Tell your doctor about your mental health. When you have an illness like depression or anxiety, it is important to tell your doctors about it. This goes beyond just mentioning it to them once in a while, but every time you visit they should know that you are struggling with symptoms of depression or anxiety. It's totally normal to keep some things to yourself, but if you feel that you need help, then talking about it makes sense. Your doctor can treat your mental health condition, and helping you deal with other parts of your life may require treating your mental health problem as well. For example, when someone has anxiety, they might find that they are more likely to worry about work because there is no way to concentrate without thinking about what will happen next. If this applies to you, talk to your colleagues about their plans for the day and ask how their week was. Then try to imitate that same level of casual conversation. See if you can apply these ideas to help you relax.